What we're going to see here is in the takeaway, this golfer is going to do what's kind of a reverse, not a reverse but an actual C. Watch as he's going back now, is a shift of the lower body. See that? How the lower body shifting? And he's creating this loop like that. Got to get rid of that. Butt's got to stay out behind, and the pelvis has got to be stayed bending down, thrust down. Now he's even more of a tilt. He hasn't gotten it all behind the golf ball. He hasn't shifted his weight onto his right side at all. Now he's going to start down, and now he's out of position, so he's got to start down by sliding kind of out of the shot, and he's going to come down, and then right there you can see that the right hand is directly under the golf club, leaving the face of the club wide open. You can just see the face of the club there, where he's like sliding the club underneath. There's no forward momentum. At this point now, the club should still be back on this line rather than forward, because he should not have released the club yet. And he's going to go on through to a fairly good finish, gets a good rotation, but he's releasing the club head way too early because he's not getting any forward momentum. There's a device that's being sold, right, the Tour 144, and it's to help you get your setup angle at 144 degrees. Now here we see a golfer that has that angle perfect at setup. Let's see if he maintains the angle throughout the swing. So we're going to watch him go back on his takeaway. Nice turn, keeping the club outside the hands, very nice. When the club is parallel to the ground, the toe should be up, and it should be just about blocking the view of the hands, pretty nice. Up, keep continuing up. Now right there, if right there he'd have stopped, he'd have been in a good position, but he went just a little further and ended up turning over the top and then driving the club down from the top too much. So now at impact, you can see that he's nowhere near that 144 degree angle. He's way out because he came over the top and he's chopping down at the ball. If we go back to where that 144 degree angle was, let's take a look here. We'll draw the line in where it was before, and then we'll try to draw the 144 in. That's where he should have been, on that line. So you can see his shoulders are way out of whack. He's moved himself out. So we need to get him to return his hands back to where they were at setup so that we more evenly match and we get a better swing. He's coming over the top. That's why the elbow's being pulled out, and he's putting a lot of strain on his lower right back. So we'll get him a little bit more into out on this downswing and get his hands back to that perfect setup position. At setup, the arms of the golfer should create like a triangle between the shoulders and the two arms. You can see that both legs of the triangle here aren't straight and long. He's a little bound up. So we'd like to get his hands a little pushed down away from his shoulders a little bit, get his arms a little longer. That'll allow him to swing the club easier. And what you're going to see is it kind of gets a little stuck, and notice how the right elbow kind of flies out behind him and he tips over a little bit like we're seeing so many golfers do. Then he has to drive his head down to the golf ball. Now he's out in front of the golf ball, coming in too steep, and kind of spins out a little bit on his foot. He has to transfer any weight to the front side, obviously, because the left foot or the lead foot is actually slipping backwards. So he doesn't get any good rotation, any weight transfer. Golf is a lot like roller skating. You got to go right foot, left foot, right foot, left foot. We have a very powerful golfer here, especially upper body. So what happens is that he doesn't utilize all the momentum that he has at his service. So we're going to see the trail foot sort of spin out here instead of pushing the weight forward. I'm going to go ahead and blow it up pretty big, shift it over, you can see that foot. But we're just going to play this in slow motion. Spins. Let's do it again in slower. Now watch closely. Slow motion. Spins the wrong way. So he's not really transferring any weight forward. He has a lot of weight still on that back foot. We're going to get him to rotate the heel straight up and get onto the toe of that right foot, and then move the right knee all the way to the left knee. Okay, we see a pretty good posture here, pretty good setup. Let's watch the turn. Taking the club back nicely. A little vertical maybe, but not too bad. Let's see if he drops it down. Right here, the goal, as you get to the top, is to drop the club down the shaft line. So we want to drop it down that shaft line, that line. He goes even above that line, not to mention the original line of the, so he's swinging way outside. Then he pulls up and away from the shot. See that? How he's pulling up and flipping the club away from the shot. Golfer's setup is pretty upright. And unfortunately what happens when you get too upright is that you tend to swing around your body a little too much. And you're going to watch that the club goes way, way to the inside. See how way inside it is? Gets behind her early. Then it comes up over the top. And then it comes way down outside the red line, over the top, chopping at it. Wide open there. Club is trying to get back. You can see the bend of the shaft is trying to get back to where it belongs. Physics tells us something wants to stay on a straight line whenever possible. And then kind of has to pull her arms in order to get any kind of contact with the ball at all. So we're going to try to get her to return the hands back to where they were at setup and to keep her spine angle forward a little bit more. Good setup, good posture. Probably has the weight a little too far back on her heels, but not too bad. Let's go ahead and watch the takeaway. Now we're doing that thing where the elbow comes out away from the body. Remember that left elbow needs to come straight back, not out. Straight back with the left elbow. Good position right there. Good strong position. She's going to drop the hands down nicely. Come into the shot. A little bit of an elevation right there. See how the body's moving up and out of the shot a little bit. She's lost her spine angle right about at the impact position. So we got to keep her chest forward, the spine tilt forward, and not let that left elbow go away from the body on the backswing. Let's see if you can pick up this. What this golfer has a tendency to do is to try to throw the head of the club at the golf ball partway on through the downswing. So let's go ahead and play it in slow motion. Pretty nice backswing. And she's just going to go right there, throw it at it. And notice if we back up a little bit here, see how the arms are all pulling in, trying to get that power into the shot. She'd be much better off just to pull the handle from this position right here. Just keep the handle moving towards the target. The club will release on its own, and you'll get some decent power. Good finish, though. This golfer has a great forward swing, but the backswing leaves a lot to be desired. Even a short backswing needs to have a lot of wrist hinge, because you'll notice when she goes back, she gets no wrist hinge at all. She's got no lever created. And then she has this beautiful forward motion. She turns right through the shot and finishes nice and high. So what we need to do is get her, when she's here, to get a nice angle so the club is up in the air a little bit more. With this golfer, we see a pretty good setup. But the problem with him is that he doesn't advance any momentum to the front side. He falls on his back leg. He gets back here pretty good. Then he flies the right elbow out. And then he comes over the top and kind of scoops at the ball falling backwards instead of generating forward momentum. So we're going to work on getting him a little more off this back foot here and get his weight going forward. One of the keys to a good golf swing is to make sure that your back heel goes straight up, not around behind you. We have a very strong swing here, but there's just a little too much body movement. Let's go ahead and draw a line in right down through the center axis of her swing and watch how much movement there is in the swing. And she goes back, way, way, way back, and then drives forward. Now the forward part of the motion is good. We don't mind that one, but we got to get rid of a lot of this right there. It's going to make it very hard to get back accurately to the golf ball. We're going to see here how the arms and hands swing down much faster than the body rotates. Good setup, pretty nice takeaway right there. And then it really rushes the hands down to there. Because there's no forward movement, no choice but to kind of flip the club at the ball right there. If he would have been moving forward and rotating those hips towards the target, been up on that right toe, have all the weight transferred to the left side, would have been a much better result. Here we see we got a couple of lines drawn here. The one line is the swing plane, and the other line is where the club should start on its way down. Now we're going to see that she stays on the swing plane pretty good, and then she goes up the other line. Now she's got to come back down that line, and she doesn't do that. She goes outside of it. If she came back down, she would generate an in-to-out swing instead of an over-the-top swing. The over-the-top swing is a power loss. You sort of wave at the ball as it goes, as you go by. Not a lot of power generated. The other thing we'll notice is that at about here, she's got her spine angle okay, and then it's gone. She stands straight up on the swing. We seem to, in the golfers in the videos today, we're seeing a lot of what I call the tip over swing, where instead of getting around behind the ball, the golfer just kind of dips the shoulder straight down, ends up elevating the right hip, and ending up tipping over towards the target. Also, this is another golfer that doesn't get any wrist hinge at the top of her backswing. She's got a huge backswing, but if that club was parallel to the ground, more on that line like this, I think she'd have a lot more power. She tends to lose the power because she's no hinge. See right here, she's lost almost complete hinge of the wrist. So now she's just sort of bunting at the ball, scooping it off the ground, not getting any forward momentum.